This moment. You know, if we look out into the world, there's so much that can grab our attention that causes us angst, worry, fear even. But the place of peace is right inside ourselves. It's inside our heart. It's that place we can breathe into and breathe out. And know that whatever is happening in the world, whatever is happening that we see as a crisis, as chaos, is as it is. And we have the opportunity in ourselves to bring ourselves from the peace that resides at our very soul. So as we breathe in and breathe out, we know that that's the truth. We know where to go to be at peace and at ease. And for that, we are grateful, and so it is. Amen. Top or bottom?
Bottom.
Bottom. Middle. I'm going to go to the bottom. I haven't chose from the bottom. I chose the top. All right. Well, this person isn't here today. That's all right. This is from Cliff Birtwistle. So this is about Soul Center. What do you want it to be in your life and for others? Happy for no reason. That was pretty good, right? How do you want it to feel? Peace of mind always. Peace of mind always. How will you bless this space? With love for all. Cliff Birtwistle. Yep. Thank you, Cliff. Well, some of you, hi Ellen. Some of you are here because I teased you last week to tell you what happens to Arjuna at the end of the Bhagavad Gita. Did y'all go Google it? No, you didn't even Google it?
But I bought the book.
Oh, you bought the book. You bought the book. Well, Arjuna is in a struggle. I'm just going to recap here because I think it's important to recap. So Arjuna is in the struggle. He is a warrior built to fight. And he is in his chariot with his charioteer Krishna, who is none other than God itself. And he is between these two warring factions, both his family members, the Kauravas and the Pandavas. And he doesn't know what to do. And it's the epic battle. I mean, it's a battle of a lifetime. It's like the battle for the soul of the soul. I mean, this is the epic battle of the soul. And he says this to Krishna. He says, the world is falling apart. Any of you think about that lately? This battle is like no other in history. I feel totally lost. I'm not sure what my duty is. I'm not sure what's mine to do. Must I really wage war against my own kin? Because he has kin on both sides. He says, I simply do not understand. He says, my will, in the Bhagavad Gita it says this, my will is paralyzed and I am utterly confused. Tell me, which is the better path for me? Let me be your disciple. I have fallen at your feet. Give me some instruction. Isn't that what we want to know all the time? Just tell me. Just tell me what to do. I have coaching clients like that. I have one I've been with for a long time. In the beginning, she used to say, well, why don't you just tell me? Like, just tell me what the answer is. I'm like, I can't tell you what the answer is. How can I possibly know what that is for you? He falls to the floor of his chariot and calls out to Krishna. Conflicting sacred duties confound my mind. I cannot fight the fight. Pah, on the bottom of his chariot he goes, right? And that's when Krishna begins his advice, his pulling along Arjuna to make the decision about whether to fight or not fight. And over the last 4 weeks, I've been sharing that with you. The first thing Krishna says is this, take refuge in me. Like, stop with all the mind stuff trying to figure things out and take refuge in the only place that there is any peace in the world, which is in you, which is where I reside. Take refuge in me. Because that's not always the thing we do. We want, well, what's there to do? What's there to do? This is what's there to be. The first step in action is inaction. That's the first step. Yeah. That's the first step. The second step is this. That whatever is in front of you, the thing that is in your life right at this moment in time, find the precise place where you can help alleviate the sorrows of the world. That's what we're here to do, right there. Not to figure out, what's my dharma? Well, I don't know if it's here. I don't know. It's like, well, look what's right in front of you. Because there is a place, there is a precise place that you are here to intervene in the sorrows of the world. That's it. What's right in front of you. And step 3, he talks about not only is that choice that you make about your good, but it is for the common good. It's for the good of the whole. It's not just so I can just get rich scheme for me. It's the richness of all. Remember Indra and the net and the nodes at each net? Like it affects everybody, your choice, not just you. So that's a way to measure. Like, is this really mine? Going within, knowing that's the precise place that I can intervene in the world's sorrows, and knowing that it's not just for me, but for the good of the whole. And then the 4th step is to master your dharma, to pay attention to it. You know, sometimes it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of focus. Like, don't be distracted by people saying, well, really, Paula. It's like, no. Stay on your path. Stay on your path. And here's the biggest thing, or one of the biggest things, is don't be attached to the outcome. Just because I decide this is the precise place and I know it's useful to the whole, doesn't mean that I'm going to see the exact result that I want to see. Remember the story last week, Jonathan Daniels? Oh my gosh. You'll have to listen to it if you didn't hear it last week. You cannot be attached, I cannot be attached to what it looks like in the outer. And when I get there, when I am in that flow, when I know, when I've taken these steps and I know, I realize this amazing thing, that I am not the doer. That I am not the one that's doing anything, that it is simply the divine in me, through me, having this result. Right? That's what it's about. Those are the steps. So, all these disorienting dilemmas that we have, these big things that happen, and the little things that happen as well, all these things that we question or doubt, or that we're confused about, all are a call for spiritual awakening. All are a spiritual crisis. They're not about the thing. They're not about the government. They're not about this. They're not about any of that. They're about my own spiritual crisis and awakening to know how this actually works. So what does Arjuna do? Y'all want to know. You're sitting at the ends of your seats. And I'm about to share it with you now. I sincerely hope you're not disappointed. But you gotta let go. You will understand. You will understand. So, does Arjuna fight? Yes, he fights. But how does he fight the battle of good versus evil? Of Dharma versus a-Dharma, the opposite of Dharma? This is the real question. How does he do it? At the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita, all we know for sure is that Arjuna will do God's will with complete certitude and faith. That's what we know, because he's learned these things. And so we know that he will respond in reference to these things. Here's what the Bhagavad Gita says. Each individual must decide, with God's help, to what particular duty she is called, through discernment, through dialogue, through prayer and meditation, and with complete understanding of the consequences of her actions. That is what it's about. What does he do? Does he fight? Really what he does at the end of the Bhagavad Gita is ride off in his chariot toward the two warring factions into the sunset. Yeah, too bad. You can't know. How are we supposed to know? How are we supposed to take one person's decision and apply it to our own lives? No one knows what is yours to do but you. How could that be? So, Cope thinks that Arjuna probably fought the moral equivalent of war. The moral equivalent of war. Similar to Jonathan Daniels, who went as an activist into the Deep South and helped the black population to protest for the indignations that they were suffering. That was the moral equivalent of war for Jonathan Daniels. Maybe Arjuna did that. Maybe he didn't. But it's not ours to decide. It's yours to decide for you. And it's mine to decide for me. That's the only way it works. It matters not what you do, but how you bring yourself to the moment given these steps. This is your guidance. No one can say, well, this is what you should do. No one but you. No one else can make that decision. And what it really comes down to is that we, by following these steps, become mystics. Do you know that about yourself? Like, what do you mean, mystic? Me? Mystic? What do you mean? I got a job. I got things to do. I got children to raise. Mystic? What in the world are you talking about? Let me tell you. In the final analysis, the Gita shows us that difficult times, uncertain times, doubtful times force us to become mystics. Why? Because in those times, all of the questions are hard. You know that. When things are hard, or when things are difficult, all of the questions around that are hard questions. I think that's why people don't show up for churches like this much, because this is hard work. There isn't a bunch of rules you can just follow, and then you're going to get to heaven and everything's good. Like, you got work to do right here. And it's hard work sometimes. We must search longer and harder and deeper for answers. We must learn to rely on unseen allies. We need to rely on the wisdom within, on invisible forces, on mystic strengths. We must rely on hunches, on instincts, and as Emerson said, on the inner voice. That's what we need to rely on. And so, in the final reckoning, really, difficult times perfect us. Because that's where it leads us to that work. The full-hearted execution of our Dharma, our true nature, lies in the hidden seed inside of us. That's what it's about. Like, so I have a few thoughts about that. I've decided for myself that my Dharma is not this one big thing. Because that's what some of us think. And that's why we're worried right now. Because we're like, oh my God, I'm this old, and what is my Dharma? I don't know even what it is. It's like, I don't think it's one big thing. For me, it's not about being a minister, or being a potter, or being a project manager, or, it's not about being a farmer, or a partner. It's not about any of that. That's not what my Dharma is about. You know what my Dharma is about? My Dharma is in every single moment of my life. That's what it is. It's now for all of us. Whatever that is. It's not this one big thing. We just need to follow these paths and over again listen, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. That's what it is. Dharma is our sacred duty, our calling in the moment. Are you a little bit relieved? Because since you're still alive, right? Here we are. And I have learned too to trust myself more. To trust my intuition. That's the still small voice is my intuition. And you know what? Sometimes it's required that I make an absolute U-turn. An absolute U-turn. When I was, before I settled here permanently, I went out to Utah. I moved out to Utah. I was living on an alfalfa ranch. Moving irrigation and doing crazy stuff. And I worked part-time in a karaoke bar. Backing the wait staff. I got to a point where I was like, I need to get back to the East Coast. I knew that. Like, it was too far out for me at that time. Moab, Utah, anybody been there? The Branding Iron Restaurant? Of course it's Laura McLean's been there. Yeah! It's a highfalutin place, isn't it now? The Branding Iron. U-turn, came back. I left Unity of Wilmington. Y'all had a big party for me, those of you who were there. Just had my own church in Durham. After 1 year, I helped them close the church. Yeah, I'm on the way to being a minister. Yikes, close the church. Talk about a disorienting dilemma. It was very disorienting. I didn't know what to do. I came back and then I made another choice that necessitated a U-turn. I decided to take a job as a project manager at New Hanover County Schools. Renee and I talked about it. We're like, yeah, maybe this is a thing. I went there. I'm like, the first day I knew it wasn't the right place to be. But I stayed for 6 months because I thought, well, But after I went back after Christmas break, I said, I can't stay. I can't stay. I mean, U-turns. U-turns are all about it. Those U-turns taught me more than anything else in my life. The U-turns, the U-turn of cancer, the U-turn of knee surgery, the U-turn of, name something. So Dharma is not this smooth path because I know what I'm doing and God is my guide. It's paying attention to every single moment. Every single moment. And I've decided really that the most important thing for us to do is to show up. Is to simply show up for life. Like, consciously show up. Not just bodily and looking like this, but show up. Two people who are showing up for life in one of the most difficult situations today is Gene and Kathy Sinclair. Yeah. Gene Sinclair has been diagnosed with cancer. They've been traveling back and forth to Chapel Hill. He's trying to he's getting into this trial. You should read her posts on Caring Bridge. The most calm and present person I can't imagine. It's happening right now. They're both showing up for life with cancer. Difficult cancer. Cancer that's painful. Cancer that's getting worse by the day. Cancer that needs to be part of a trial in order to have a positive outcome. And they're being present to it. I thank you both. I know they'll be listening. For showing up to life. Because sometimes it is hard just to show up. Just to show up to life. But you know what? Don't let all this talk about Dharma get you all freaked out. Like, don't let it be something that you worry about. Remember Henny Penny? Yeah. The chick going around and the acorn hits her on the head. She's like, the sky is falling. No, just be present and notice. We don't notice stuff. So here's a story for you. So Renee and I are sitting in the living room talking, and we're talking about her company, and they're having a tough time having enough people to do the amount of work that they have, and so morale is kind of low. It's not unusual, right? But it's frustrating for people because the marketing department is like, let's get some more work. And the hoity-toity designers are like, oh, let's do this. And then all the people have to draw it and make it happen. They're like, oh my God, another project, right? Isn't that the way it goes? What's that imbalance there? And so I was asking her about this particular person in her company who, they used to commiserate together, kind of. Someone that you can, talk to that it won't go any further than that, but you just want to get it off your chest. You don't really expect anybody to solve anything. And I said, hey, how's Dean doing? What's he have to say about this? And Renee said, oh, Dean can't talk about it anymore. He's one of the stockholders in the company. So they're not allowed to say anything derogatory about the company. I'm like, well, dang, isn't that interesting? And you know what? For Renee, for a long time, wanted to be a stockholder. In fact, she's been disappointed that she hasn't been a stockholder in this company because they're doing well. It would mean some money. But in that moment, she said to me, if they would offer that to me today, I don't think I'd take it. I want to be able to speak my mind. I want to be able to say what's happening on the other side of the coin here. I want people to know about this. And I said, oh my God, Renee, that's your Dharma. And she said, what? You see, I think that's what happens to us. We're living our Dharma and we don't even know we're living our Dharma. Like there she is saying, I don't care about the money that it brings me. I don't care about the prestige in the company. I want to be on this side. I want to be able to say what's on my mind in a meaningful way and present this side of the story so that they know. Isn't that Dharma in the way we've defined it? Well, absolutely it is. And that's what we look for, the precise place where I can intervene in the world's sorrows that's more than just for me, but that is useful to the whole. Isn't that what that is? I say yes. I say yes. She scratched her head for a while and said, yeah, I think I can see that now. Don't miss it when you do it. You might be doing it right now. But because you haven't been thinking about it in this context, you don't even realize that you're performing your dharma, the call, your sacred duty in the moment. You know, disorienting dilemmas, confusion, uncertainties are not a call to be my expanded self so that everybody can see me. That's not what it is. What it is a call to have an examined life. That you're willing to examine your life. Stephen Cope, in his other book, The Great Work of Your Life, puts it this way, that I want to close with, that I think is so appropriate. He says, "Deep in middle life, I began to feel the awful burden of wanting to be special, wanting to be better, wanting to experience every possible adventure in this life, wanting to be an expanded self. Oh, for God's sake, it's just too damn much work to be an expanded self. Couldn't I just be an ordinary self? There's so much spiritual exhaustion. This selfish anxiety to get the most out of everything, to be the sparkling success in our own eyes and in the eyes of others. We can only get rid of this anxiety and of the mistaken idea that we are not essential by being content to miss something in almost everything we do." Could you do that? Could you just be content with missing something? We cannot master everything, taste everything, understand everything, drain every experience to its last dregs. But if we have the courage to let almost everything else go, we will probably be able to retain the one thing necessary for us, whatever it might be. If we are too eager to have everything, we will almost certainly miss even the one thing we need. Merton says this, "We are not called to everything." Do I need to repeat that? We are not called to everything. We are called just to what we are called to. What a relief. So let's take some time for meditation. Let's take a deep breath in and out. Laura's going to play a little acoustic music for us while we meditate for a few moments. So take a deep breath in again. I hope you feel this relief. And simply fall into the space of noticing where you are, what is yours to do, most importantly, how you are to be in this sacred moment of life. That's where you'll find your Dharma, your true calling, your sacred duty to yourself and to the world. No henny penny, no worry, no awful searching and judging. To simply be awake. So let's just sit for a few moments, breathing in and breathing out. So here's my prayer for you. I hope you walk around the world and in your life with your eyes wide open and your heart in tune to the divine wisdom that lives you. I hope you allow stillness to become part of your daily routine. I hope you examine your life. I mean, really look at it. Notice the comfort and discomfort, and allow both to guide your choices. I hope you are brave and bold. And in all of this, I hope you learn to love yourself just the way you are. With great love, amen.
Lean on me when you're not strong. I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long. I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Lean, swallow your pride. If I have things you need to borrow, for no one can know those of your needs that you won't let it show. Just call on me, baby, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. 'Cause I might have a problem that you understand. We all need somebody to
Take a breathe and pray the way we do. So important. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be happy. May all beings be filled with loving kindness. May all be well. May all be peaceful and at ease. May all be happy. Amen. Till next time.